morning
Yeah.
saying that his call for the green card is imminent. And so if that happens, it's possible that he may have to leave for a few days in the middle of our session. Or it could happen in Phoenix. So he says that I just want to alert you. So I replied back to him saying that of course that will be. It's very possible if it's only gone for a day or two, we can either take a break or I can actually fill in on him for him and continue on instead of Prabhupada. So I wrote to him. So this is one thing. And the second thing is there is at least one person from the East Coast, and possibly a few more, that may want to come here for 10 days. So Swamiji says, is there a possibility of them staying?
Jyoti.
Hmm?
Jyoti is one of them, right?
Jyoti is Chalam.
Yes, I know, we know her.
You know her?
Yeah. She's a good, serious student.
So the question is, where should we, is it possible for us to find a place for her, or should she stay in a hotel? That's a decision we need to make. And possibly I should send an email out to people to say that there are some possibilities. So those are two things that came.
Well, in terms of green card, he can transfer the request to the San Jose state.
It's a very sensitive thing.
Yeah, that's Swami V did it, that's what I'm saying.
No.
Right?
This is,
I know, it was a...
He's already had a couple of problems.
I
He
see.
got violated.
Oh.
They just refused it, and now
Uh-huh.
they're starting a new process, and
okay.
wherever it is required, he will go.
Keep this here.
Yeah, please, let people
Rabbi
know.
should keep it, I don't know, it will have a place to keep it. I didn't like to say that, like these, like people who take care of some of them and they have to do it. So I just give them, and then when I get more and more for that. I'll just keep it here.
This is a somewhat of a new setup. So these people call the Hindu Community Institute, which I'm also part of, HCI. So they're starting their classes again, and they've bought a new TV and so on. So we have spent quite a bit of time in rearranging. The one thing that they requested is that our chairs be left in a nice arrangement, and all of the platforms for putting the books should be put back on again instead of hanging. And so please, let's just try to do that, and then they will do the same thing for us. So I thought I'll just mention that to you. Okay. A little late starting, but Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So let's start. All set? Okay. So, what we will do today are two things. I think with today we will start the formal review of chapter 1 through 6 of the Bhagavad Gita. And then we will also do meditation, which we meant to do last week, but we didn't get to. So today we will do that. So I'll try to take maybe about 20-25 minutes for the meditation, and the rest of the time for starting the review of the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. And my sense is that it will probably take maybe a couple of classes, and then by that time we would have fulfilled our promise that we would bring you up to speed with the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita, and then we will begin a more detailed study of the 7th chapter of the Gita. Maybe not verse by verse, but at least a more detailed study of groups of verses in a concept, so we can cover all of the 7th chapter in the matter of, probably 6 to 8 classes. So something like that. So that is the agenda for today. Now, so at this point, what my methodology has been, see, this keeps turning off. Hopefully you can hear me. So the methodology has been that instead of because of the limited time that we have, instead of going through chapter by chapter review of the Bhagavad Gita, I thought we would encapsulate it in terms of some concepts, which I've been doing with you for the last 7 or 8 classes, and then relate the concepts that we were looking at to the specific teachings of the Bhagavad Gita. So it's almost like reverse of doing that. But then by the end of this period, then you would be pretty much caught up in terms of the structure of the Gita, the concepts of the Gita, and then we will go into the second part of the Gita, which is number 7. So the Gita, as you know, has 3 parts to it: chapter 1 through 6, chapter 7 through 12, and chapter 13 through 18th. And so we are now beginning the second segment of it. But the first segment, you would have pretty much you would have been brought up completely in terms of the concepts and so on. So that's the methodology that I'm using. So continuing on with that, as you know, the basic premise of the Bhagavad Gita, there are 2 actually elements to the basic premise. Okay, so the first one is called Brahma Vidya. And if you look at the end of each chapter, at end of each chapter there is a prayer. And so, for example, if you look at the end of the first chapter, and they're all very similar, it says, Om Tat Sat Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. This is common. Then the name of the chapter is Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade. Samvade means a discussion. Sankhya Yogo Nam Dvitiya Adhyaya. So the second chapter is called Sankhya Yoga. So similarly, the same thing is there in all of them, which is Bhagavad Gita Su Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastra. Brahma Vidya Yoga Shastra. So what is Brahma Vidya and what is Yoga Shastra? You should be very clear about. So the premise number 1 is
you should know that you are already what you want to be. It's a very strange thing, really. If I have a desire to be something, and really the desire to be something is everyone, this is common for everyone, not individual, that somebody wants to be a scientist, somebody wants to be an artist. No. Whether we want to be a scientist or an artist, we want to be free. We want to be totally independent of all problems, including death. We don't know how to do it, but the desire is there for us to be totally free. This is the premise. And as you know, we have been discussing this, that this premise that I want to be totally free is not because you are really not free today and you will become really free in the future. That's not what it is. It is, in fact, you are already free, but you don't feel you are free. So this is, as you know, if I ask you what does it really mean, is praptasya praptihi. So that phrase, that two words, you should just memorize. Praptasya praptihi. So praptasya praptihi means an acquisition of the already acquired. As you know, these are the two kinds of acquisitions. One which you don't really have and you want to have it, or the other one is you have it, you just don't get it, you don't understand it. So this is the important basic premise of the Bhagavad Gita. And so this is what is called Brahma Vidya. Brahma Vidya means in knowledge of Brahman, knowledge of you, Atma and Brahman being the same, the knowledge of yourself, that the freedom that you are, the freedom that you are as a person, we don't get it. But then, so this is what is called sadhya. Sadhya means what has to be established, because I don't get it at this point in time. The second one is the sadhana, which is called Yoga Shastra. So Gita is not something which says this is what you want to be and you figure it out. No. It says this is where you should understand, and here is the way to understand it. So one is sadhya and the other one is sadhana. The sadhana is called Yoga Shastra. And that is really what the entire Bhagavad Gita is devoted to. So now at the end of each chapter, it says, Om Tat Sat Shri Bhagavad Gita Su, which is nothing but an Upanishad. Upanishad is the one that make things very clear to you. It's a method of doing that. So in that Gita Su Upanishadsu, Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre. In the subject of Brahma Vidya and Yoga Shastra, here is this chapter. And this is the structure of the Bhagavad Gita. So now we know this. If I am already what I want to be and I don't understand it, what is needed for me to understand it? What is needed to understand anything is to prepare the mind adequately. This is the very fundamental part of life. that any subject matter which is given to you to understand requires your eligibility. That's why you cannot get the subtlety of any field without having going through grade school, language, high school, college, and so on. This is fundamental to it. You cannot say, if you tell me I'm free and there is God and so on and so forth, why don't I see it? Well, you don't see it because you're not prepared yet. That doesn't mean that it is wrong, it's just that you don't see it. So the key to understand anything is to have the right preparation of the mind. So this is all very fundamental to the teaching of the Bhagavad Gita. And we should also say that the more subtle the subject matter, the more subtle and the right tuning of the mind it is, of the instruments. So, for example, to see viruses, you cannot see the viruses with your eyes, because the eyes are designed to see some easily distinguishable things. But in order for you to see microbes, you need some other instruments. And to see viruses, you need some more subtle instruments. It turns out that the most important instrument at our disposal is our mind. And the mind can also either be gross or subtle. You can have a mind which can accomplish, we can just have eating things, grabbing onto things, and dancing, and some very obvious things that we want to do. Or you can have a mind which deals with obtuse subjects, with complex, sophisticated subjects, and so on. And so you need to have the mind to understand sophisticated subjects. It turns out that your reality, which is the Atma, is the subtlest thing in the whole creation. Subtlest. That being the case, this is the reason we don't get it. We walk around without really understanding who we are, where are we going, and so on. Because we don't get it, because our minds are not prepared. It's a funny situation because the Atma shouldn't need a mind. This is an important concept that we will deal with later on. That if I am already free, how is it that I don't understand it? Why do I need to get the aid of my mind? But this is the possibility. You saw that 10th man example. The 10th man example is given as an answer to this query, this doubt, that it is very possible for someone who knows that I am a person and I am the son of so-and-so or a daughter of so-and-so, but I don't see that I am that missing person that I am seeking. It's possible. So self-ignorance can cover my own reality. Anyway, the Atma being very subtle, I need to have an appropriately subtle way of understanding. This is what the whole life needs to be. So we have 3 instruments of the mind. And this is all given to us. The instruments are given to us. You know, like supposing you want to go to in some place, a car has to be obtained by you. You have to buy a car, rent it, take Uber or something. But the instruments of understanding are given to us. This is a more sophisticated vehicle in 3 forms. So this is what is called Shakti. Shakti means a power. 3 forms are given to us. The animals are not given the first one, which is Ichha Shakti, as we saw. I think we went over this. But all human beings have come up to a stage where the Ichha Shakti is given to us. Ichha Shakti means the power to decide, should I do this or should I do this? That is unique to human beings, number one. Second one is Kriya Shakti. Kriya Shakti means the power to do. And so all of my organs of actions are provided to help me with this. The Kriya Shakti is manifested, and I can sit down, I can stand up, I can go, I can talk, I can eat. All this is Kriya Shakti. And the third one is the power to know. Jnana Shakti. What to know. And in fact, all the organs of actions, organs of perception are helping me to know. Yes, this is light, this is darkness, this is a table, this is that person, this is a friend, this is this language. All those kinds of things is called Jnana Shakti. So those are the 3 Shaktis that we have. And so now in the Bhagavad Gita, the key word used is yoga. And so all the chapters are called yoga, Sankhya Yoga. For example, the 2nd chapter, Karma Yoga, 3rd chapter, Jnana Vijnana Yoga, 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 Yoga. Yoga means a means of achieving. Means of achieving is called yoga. So that's why it says Yoga Shastra. Remember we saw that earlier. Brahma Vidya, Yoga Shastra. So Yoga Shastra means to achieve something is called yoga. So now we can, corresponding to the 3 Shaktis that we have, there are 3 basic types of yoga. One is Karma Yoga, which has to do with the power to do. One is Jnana Yoga, which is corresponding to the Jnana Karma, Jnana Shakti. And the third one is Bhakti Yoga, which is corresponding to Ichha Shakti. I should have really reversed it. So, in the Bhagavad Gita, in terms of the understanding of the self, 2 are given the most prominence, which is Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. And the Bhakti Yoga, even though given adequate coverage, is not supposed to be a third independent way. In fact, the Bhakti reinforces, strengthens, clarifies both Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. So really speaking, when you say that this person is a very dedicated person, so dedicatedness means bhakti, means you are so focused on something. Once you grasp an idea, you want to go through with it, comes from bhakti. Or if you want to pray to Ishvara and say, I need some help. I understand that you are also involved in my life and I need your help in any way, also through bhakti. So the bhakti is really enhancing the karma and jnana yoga. It is not an independent one as the way the Vedanta explains it. Now this is an important concept to grasp and to understand and perhaps accept for the time being. It's not as though you will immediately see the logic of it. We don't know enough to independently decide, but we have to accept what is being said. The three yogas are not independent ways of reaching the goal that we want. This should be very clear, and this is confusing to a lot of people who have not studied the subject matter in deep enough matter. They say, no, jnana yoga is a separate thing. Or you can do it through karma yoga. Or you can do it through bhakti yoga. Because if the premise is praptasya praptihi, then it should be understood. If your credit card is already with you, then your karma is only meant for knowledge. You cannot just walk around, you cannot go to all the places and find it. There's a kind of I don't know if it's a very strange example, but there's a humorous example. So a lady said, I've lost my earrings. Can you guys help me find it? So they started looking for her earrings and outside somewhere near the bus. And she said, they say, what does it look like? She said, this is how it is. And they were all looking at it and so on. They couldn't find it. So they said, no, we can't find it. But do you know where you lost it? She said, yes, I lost it in my home. They said, what? You're wasting so much of our time. And why didn't you tell us that you lost it in the... She says, at night time I lost it and it was very dark. And I'm not going to find it in the darkness, so I thought I should find out where there is light. So that's why I came out. This is the situation. People can be confused and understanding about what the situation is. So a praptasya prapti means I know it's around, but I don't know where it is. And my karma is not just finding it at various places, but to know exactly where it is and find it. So, karma yoga and jnana yoga are not parallel paths, they are sequential paths. This should be remembered very well in your mind. And in fact, the process is from karma, ordinary actions, because that's what we do every day. If you just look at your day, you employ things in order to accomplish things. This is what is called karma. Then from karma, it needs to evolve to karma yoga. This is kind of like step number 2. And we'll discuss what does it mean. We already have to a certain extent, and we will embellish it more. What do you mean by by switching from karma to karma yoga. And very briefly, what it means is to use karma intelligently with some understanding. A very quick example of that would be karma is a very important instrument, like a sharp knife. You cannot live without a knife in you. It will be difficult to live without a knife. And a sharp one is better. You want to peel an apple or an onion or something, you need to have a sharp knife. A sharp knife is important. But if you don't know how to use a sharp knife, I mean, imagine giving a sharp knife to a 1-year-old or a 6-month-old. I don't know, somewhere there, 6-month-old, let's say. The 6-month-old is given an object, the first thing they do is to put it in their mouth, because they think that this is something that I should eat. So a sharp knife in the hands of a non-understanding person harms you. A sharp knife in the hands of an intelligent person is very useful. So also is karma in the hands of someone that doesn't know how to use it. And karma yoga is a very intelligent use of karma. And karma yoga is not enough for us to gain freedom in our life. It is not the end in itself, it is in fact an instrument. You need to then move on to a next stage, which is called Jnana Yoga. So we will go into all of those details later on. But so anyway, if you look at the utility of these three, karma is adequate for limited gains. You want limited gains, then it's completely adequate. Not adequate for unlimited gains. And we want unlimited gains. We were tired of working and we want really complete freedom, relaxation, not doing anything. And for that, karma is not useful for that. For that, you have to understand, who am I that is relaxing? What is my nature? All of that has to be done. And for that, so now we can give the next concept here. A karma is useful for employing myself for limited gains. Karma yoga is in fact for sharpening my mind, making it more subtle, studying it for understanding the subtlety of the Atma. Same karma, but different, but done in a different attitude turns into karma yoga. And in fact, this is the specialty of BhagavadGita. If there is one thing that the BhagavadGita shines, is to explain how karma should be turned into karma yoga. So we will go into that in great detail. Now, if you look at, this is our normal life. 99% of the people, first, it's not as though there is something wrong, because the way human beings are designed, you first do karma. Then you learn to turn the karma into a yoga. And then you turn the karma yoga into jnana yoga. This is supposed to be that way. But there are exceptions where it's possible in rare cases to go directly from birth in preparing for jnana yoga. And in fact, even in this particular case, it is not really an exception. It just means you have done the previous steps before you took birth into this life. You've already done it. So in fact, in the Gita it is said, because this is a normal question, Arjuna asks this question in later chapters. He says, Krishna, tell me, I'm trying to understand all of this from you, and I think I'm getting somewhere. But what happens to me if I do not completely accomplish it before I die? Something happens to me and my body gives in and I'm not able to really do it. So what happens to me? Krishna says, you think I will forget it? You think that there is no memory in the whole system? There is nothing in the cloud? You don't think I'm intelligent enough to know who you are? He says, I will take care of you. Don't have to worry about it. You just keep doing it, whatever you need to do. And if there is an interruption from your past karmas and so on, you will, this is exactly like, you call these people and say, some repair man, some repair shop or something, which my Fitbit is actually not synced in, so I have to call them today. And supposing I'm put on a wait, and they'll say, I'm sorry, we are very late. Would you like us to call you back? You would not lose your place on the queue. I said, yes, please call me back. This is exactly what Krishna says. You will not lose your space in the line. You will resume at that point. That resumption is done here in Jnana Yoga. And what you find is, in rare cases, there are people who, as soon as they are 6 or 7 or 8, they have a sense of, this is not what I want to do. I want to think and I want to be a spiritual seeker. And they become. And in India, we actually have a system where you can just be a sannyasi. You don't have to go through marriage and schooling and this, that, or the other. You just go to and just learn. So it's very possible that you bypass all of this and go to Jnana Yoga. But in 99.9% of the cases, you better go through this if you want to do it. So one thing, and then this, I think this may be the last thing, yes. I think this is the last thing that I will do today. And then before we go to meditation, is the following. So, and Krishna also says here also, I forget, and Lord Krishna says it, and I don't have the verse there, which says that really speaking, there are two methods to really understand the truth about yourself and also the truth about Ishvara, because the two are very related. To understand Ishvara, God, and to understand yourself are similar paths. There may be small differences, but they are, for most part, you're traveling the same distance, same direction, and so on. So there are two methods. One is Jnana Yogaha, Karma Yogaha Yoginam, Jnana Yogaha Sankhyanam. He says there are two methods. So let's look at what are the two methods. And the two methods are again not parallel methods. They are in fact sequential methods. So this, by the way, just to give you a commentary on this, is the confusion in Arjuna's mind. As you know very well, if those of you that have studied Gita, because at some point in time, Krishna extols the virtue of Jnana Yoga, and some other portions of the time he extols the virtue of Karma Yoga. And this confuses Arjuna. He says, wait a second. Didn't you say that Jnana Yoga is the one that I should really do? Then why are you talking about Karma Yoga? And the reason for this is I extol both of them for different stages of your mind. They are not alternate paths, they are sequential paths. If you are not prepared yet, excuse me, then I really extol Karma Yoga. If you are prepared, then I want you to follow Jnana Yoga. So to understand this a little bit more, Karma Yoga, the end of the final stages of Karma Yoga means a stage of harmony in my mind with the three elements in my life: myself as an individual, the world that I interact with, and the creator of both of us. And through understanding, through study, through discussions, through dialogue, I reach a stage where if there are problems in my life, they are not unsolvable, overwhelming, frustrating problems. They are problems, but they are understandable. They can be dealt with, and they are subjugated by my understanding that there is, in fact, a greater owner of the whole thing. As you remember that, we went through the trustee and the owner example. That the trustee does the best to manage a business, to run a business, but leaves the full scale of worrying to the owner. So that stage of reaching is done through Karma Yoga. Having the right attitude, recognizing the presence of Ishvara in my life, and to deal with the problems of life as though they are not going to just completely knock me out. They might disturb me for a short time, like a storm, but it'll pass over. And I go on to develop a greater sense of harmony. This is the realm of Karma Yoga. So this is Swami Paramarthananda ji, one of our very good teachers from Chennai, from India, has called this as the triangular format. Triangular format means me, the world, and Ishvara. And here bhakti is also important. A devotion to it is also important. Knowledge is also important. But you retain your identity as a jiva, as a person. Then through Jnana Yoga, go to the next over, it becomes a binary format, not a triangular format. And what is the binary format? Initially a binary format, and later on even that gets into an Advaita, a sense of a oneness. But from 3 to 2 to 1 is the direction. The two are that fundamentally there are only two things. So this is what is called Drishya Drik Drishya Viveka. The seer and the seen. The Atma and the Anatma. The Atma is I. Anything which is seen is not I. I am the seer and everything else is the seen. So initially there is a duality. Not triangularity but duality. Initially. Then you understand that what is not I is not in the same degree of reality as I. It's a lesser degree of reality. Like you, the waker, and you, the dreamer, are not two people. They're one and the same. But yes, there is an experience of dream which is separate from the experience of waking. So you can say there are two states. In fact, this is what we're studying in the Mandukya Upanishad. There we say that there are, actually we say 3 stages. So waker, dreamer and sleeper. So the waking stage and the dream stage and the deep sleep are 3 stages. But they are not 3 comparable people. Because the dream is not in the same degree of reality as waking. Even though it frightens you, it gives you certain sukha dukkha, some pleasure, some pain. Very much so, we understand that. But it doesn't have the same degree. Or like, for example, the role in a play and the actor's life. They are not comparable. Even though the role gives you a certain transactional pleasure. You wear some clothes and you act like it and so on and so forth. But that is just make-believe. So similarly here, fundamentally in the beginning, Anatma is a make-believe. Atma is the real self. But initially I deal with it as a duality. In fact, we will, let's do that in our meditation, which we will start very soon. And then you find that, this is kind of like the 3 doors that you have to pass through. Several doors. One is that you start with karma. And you have to be successful in doing so. There could be an earlier stage where you are not a successful doer. So a lot of our life we have to become successful. Successful in the sense we adopt some job, we do a good job, and we are okay with it. It gives us some pleasure, some money, some name, some fame. This is karma. This is one door to pass through. Not the final door. Then the next door to pass through is the karma yoga. But that's not the final door. The next door to pass through is jnana yoga. And so there, exactly from a karma yoga, you go to jnana yoga, and which is also not the final door. Then you understand that these are not two separate things. They are in fact one and the same. When that happens, you are done. So this is exactly what we did last week, where we said, remember, stage 1, where then you went to stage 2, and then the third stage was when you're saying, the second stage was, you know it's around here somewhere, but I don't know where it is. But a lot of your anxiety goes, but not until you find it. Then there is no trace of an anxiety. So this is the process that Bhagavad Gita goes through. So here, just a very quick recap. In Bhagavad Gita, the basic premise is praptasya praptihi. And also the karma yoga and jnana yoga are not, and bhakti yoga for that matter, are not alternate paths, but sequential paths. So karma yoga is like high school, and jnana yoga is like college. And you cannot say, should I go to high school or should I go to college? It's not a reasonable alternative. Yeah, there are people who are so smart, they don't need to go to high school for very long. But you need to touch it. And then you can just be on, they're geniuses. But that's very rare. In most cases, you have to go through the process. So that's the introduction to the first 6 chapters. And I think what I'll do, I haven't completely sorted this out in my mind, but I think what I'm going to do is from next week on, it might just take 1 class or maybe 2 classes, I don't know. But I will go through chapter by chapter for the first 6 chapters of the Bhagavad Gita and relate it back to the concepts that we have already studied. So you have a cross-reference into what that is. I'm going to do it rather quickly because, there's so many, 300 verses. So I'll just do it on a concept basis. And then I think either in 1 or 2 classes we are done with that, and we will now transition over to, by that time I'll give you a text of the verses of the 7th chapter, and we'll speed up going into the details of the 7th chapter. Okay, so with that, let's move over to, I think we have done meditation only once, isn't it? Or twice, only once. We'll do more of that. This is an important thing that we will do. So, somehow this got shut off by itself. Let's see. नमस्तेऽस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकालाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः। Let us quickly go through the steps in preparation for Nididhyasanam, which is the Vedantic meditation. And the preparation for it can be done in various forms. Whatever you are familiar with is fine. If you are not, then, as you know, the steps we had gone through were as follows. So the first one is a formal instructions to your mind, which is called sankalpa. So sankalpa here means a formal instruction addressing your mind, saying, listen, please help me, please follow me as I do the following. I am interested during this meditation in understanding not the roles that I play, but the actor who plays the roles. Who is it that I am? This is what I want to do, O mind, and please follow me as I explore this. I request you not to disturb me bringing up subjects that are part of the role, but to follow my thinking with respect to who I am, playing those roles. This is the sankalpa. Then, asanam, which is a sitting posture whose main objectives of the sitting posture is a balance between relaxation and alertness. If you let go completely, like leaning back in the chair and so on, then it is a signal for you to perhaps go to sleep. Or you are so uptight that you are not relaxed. So the objective of the asana is to strike a balance between alertness and relaxation. And one easily attainable objective is to be in a position where you don't have to change positions during the meditation. You will see that at the end of the meditation, even towards the end of the meditation, you are not even aware of your body. So the asana helps you in achieving that objective. Then, the next stage, as we saw, is focusing on the sense of touch as the sense organ that permeates throughout your body. Be aware of the various parts of your body touching. Your legs and hips touching the chair. Your feet touching the ground. Your fingers touching each other. And the subtlest of them all, your eyelashes touching each other. You should open your eyes just a little bit to let the light come in and feel the disengagement of the two sets of eyelashes from each other. Keep it open for just a few seconds and bring the eyelashes back again as you close your eyes. Do that a few times. The next step is to examine your body from head to toe and consciously pause at various parts of the body and help that part to relax. It is like a mental massage. You will find that just paying attention helps to relax the body. The next step is to be aware of your own breathing. You don't have to do anything, just observe. At the very most, see that the breaths are even in intake and exhalation, inhalation and exhalation, and relatively lengthy. the object of all of these steps, and a few more that we might do some other time. Is to make your mind more receptive to do nididhyasana. Nididhyasanam is not the absence of thoughts, at least not initially, but to see the truth of myself appreciated through thoughts. I observe that my conclusion about myself can be sorted out through discrimination, viveka, into two distinct segments. My conclusion about myself should be seen in two segments. One which is never manifest, is I, the witness, the sakshi. And the other segment which is seen by me, felt by me, experienced by me, and sometimes taken as me. So one is non-manifest, the other one is manifest. This is best appreciated with the analogy of seeing your reflection in some reflecting media. medium. There is you, very much there, but you cannot objectify and your reflection which you can easily objectify but is not the real you. Your reflection, even though is different from you, but shows who you are. By the reflection being objectified, the non-objectified you can be seen. This is an important tenet of Nididhyasanam. You don't have to remove the anatma, the not I, in order to appreciate who you are. Once the reflection is taken accurately as your reflection, then whether the reflection stays or not doesn't matter. You are still there. Similarly, all of your experiences point out that you are there. As an observer. Even though you cannot objectify and see yourself. You can draw a reasonable conclusion by looking at your reflection. In the same way, I am an awareful being. The nature of awareness, Sakshi, and the reflection of the awareness can be seen in my mind, in my sense organs, organs of action, of the objects of the sense organs, the various objects, the various experiences, by the virtue of all of them, I can see I am the unchanging, immovable, awareful being. I may not be able to objectify the awareful being, but all my reflections clearly show that I am the unchanging, awareful being. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. You can enjoy the stillness of your mind as you slowly come out of meditation. Sato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma mritam gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. I hope my words during meditation can be heard, because I got some feedback, a couple of people, that some of the words were not easily, so we were trying to move this, so we'll have to experiment, but Any questions about today's class? Yeah, Greg?
It might be, if possible, nice to clip the meditation from the class and have a series of meditations that people could visit.
Yeah, Greg's point is that that's a good point, that might be good to separate the clips of the meditation and form it as a separate file. And I think that's a good idea. We'll try to do that. That will be
And even, I know it's a lot of work, it's always easy to propose work rather than do it, but, have even a transcript of it too, so people can.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember whether, Jennifer Sterling in Texas, she has been sending, have you seen the transcripts of the classes?
Yeah.
If you have not, then what I would request is that you go to the web page where the chapter 7 title is, and then you can actually go into what's called, I think it's called the text, class texts, I think is the name. And all of the previous classes have a transcribed notes that she does a great job. Every week she does it, and I just make some small edits to it. And so it's all there. In fact, I just started to make my own copy of it. And so Introduction to Vedanta 1 and so on. So she does all of that, and if you may want to just keep that as a file. In fact, I recommend that you do, because you will have all of the previous ones. And I am not sure, Greg, that she did it for that previous meditation. I'll have to check.
Yeah.
But it might be good to do.
If she's transcribing from the recording, then she probably does. If she's just transcribing,
Good point. Okay, I'll ask her. I think she will actually, I'm sure she's on board, and she will let us know exactly how we would do it. But that is a good idea, that to have a separate set of sections on the meditation.
because then people could practice that, daily.
Yes,
whenever
very
they
much so.
want.
And I think just like I'm doing it for the classes themselves, I may want to think about the structure of the meditations as well, so that I cover it in a very systematic way. That's a good suggestion, and I will take up on it.
Her notes are pretty complete.
Yeah.
She's got like 4 or 5 pages of notes for each class.
Yeah, so that I do recommend. In fact, I just have been so busy, and I probably will be for the next week or so, but I want to really now spend some time giving you the supplemental reading, some of the texts that you could go to, and perhaps some CDs from other teachers that you may want to listen to, and all of that. So good, I think I will do that. Ashok, you had a question?
Just a personal observation. Slowly but surely, maza aa raha hai.
He says he's enjoying it. It's nice, very wonderful. Very happy to know that. Yeah, it's that's my fun too, to be able to communicate it in a way that people can enjoy it. So wonderful. Any other questions? Okay, good. I'll see you next week.